Let's start with something simple, because this is where most people get stuck before they ever really begin. Drawing isn't supposed to feel heavy. Somewhere along the way, people start treating drawing like a test, like every mark is a decision that needs to be justified, like the page is watching you. And once that happens, the whole thing tightens up. The hand gets stiff. The mind gets loud. You stop drawing and you start performing drawing. That's not how drawing works. The best drawings don't come from control. They come from permission. Permission to be loose. Permission to miss. Permission to let the line wander before it knows where it's going. When you approach a drawing loosey-goosey, you're not being careless. You're giving yourself room to see. The first marks aren't about accuracy. They're about orientation. You're feeling your way into the subject instead of trying to dominate it. This is why perfection ruins drawing so early. Perfection asks for results before understanding exists. It demands clarity at the exact moment when curiosity should be leading, and curiosity doesn't move in straight lines. It circles, it revisits, it adjusts. Drawing is thinking with your hand, and thinking doesn't happen all at once. If you let yourself draw just to draw without an outcome in mind, something interesting happens. The pressure disappears. The page stops feeling precious. You stop protecting the drawing and start exploring it. That's when your eye wakes up. Most people were never taught how to begin a drawing, only how to judge one. From the very first class, the question is always whether it's good or bad, right or wrong, finished or unfinished. Almost no one is shown how to enter the process gently. So when you sit down with a pencil as an adult, the body remembers that pressure immediately. The hand tightens. The breath shortens. You're not reacting to the page. You're reacting to years of expectation. This is why looseness matters so much at the start. Loose drawing isn't a style choice. It's a nervous system choice. It tells your body that nothing is at stake yet, that you're allowed to explore without consequence. When the stakes are low, perception improves. You see more because you're not bracing for failure. Lines can overlap. Proportions can drift. The drawing can be wrong and still be useful. That's the entire point. Early marks aren't promises. They're questions. You're asking the subject who it might be instead of telling it who it should become. When you draw just to draw, without a destination, you practice staying present. You practice letting your hand move faster than your judgment. That's not sloppy. That's honest. Over time, those loose beginnings train your eye in a way tight drawings never will. You start recognizing relationships instinctively. Angles feel obvious instead of calculated. Corrections feel natural instead of discouraging. This is why artists who draw every day stop fearing bad drawings. They understand that bad drawings are simply part of the conversation. They don't mean anything on their own. They only become a problem when you demand perfection too early. And once you let go of that demand, drawing stops feeling like something you have to be good at and starts feeling like something you get to do. That shift is subtle, but it changes everything. The page becomes a place of play instead of proof, and when drawing feels light, you return to it more often. Frequency beats intensity every time. A loose drawing done daily teaches you more than a perfect drawing done once a month. That's how real skill develops, quietly, without pressure. Through repetition that doesn't exhaust you, you notice proportions more naturally. You see relationships instead of outlines. You respond instead of calculating. The drawing becomes a conversation instead of a performance. This is why artists who draw constantly tend to look calm while they work. They're not trying to get it right, they're trying to stay present, and presence is light. Here's where this connects to life, not just drawing. Most artists aren't unhappy because they can't make art. They're unhappy because art has been loaded with expectations it was never meant to carry. Income, status, identity, proof. When everything depends on the work becomes heavy. One of the simplest ways to make your art feel lighter is to make your life simpler. You don't need 5 cars. You don't need a massive house. You don't need expensive jewelry or constant upgrades. Those things don't buy freedom. They rent it back to you at a higher monthly cost. Freedom comes from low overhead. Most artists don't realize how much of their creative anxiety actually comes from lifestyle pressure, not lack of talent. It shows up as restlessness, comparison, impatience, but underneath it is usually something simpler: too much obligation, chasing too little meaning. When your life is expensive, your art becomes desperate. It has to perform. It has to justify itself. And once art is forced to carry that weight, it stops being playful and starts feeling like a job you didn't apply for. Simplicity changes that immediately. When you reduce your needs, you increase your options. 1 car instead of 2. A modest space instead of something impressive. Fewer subscriptions, fewer upgrades. None of this is about deprivation. It's about alignment. When your life is light, your art can be light too. This is where studying money matters more than earning more of it. When you understand how money actually works, expenses, leverage, time, opportunity cost, it stops being mysterious. It stops being emotional. You don't fear it, and you don't worship it. You use it. Money becomes a tool to buy time, not a scoreboard to prove worth. That understanding alone can free an enormous amount of creative energy. Artists who don't understand money often feel trapped, even when they're talented. Artists who do understand it feel calm, even when they're still building. The difference isn't income, it's clarity. When you know what you need and why, you stop chasing what you don't. You stop inflating your life just because the world tells you that's what success looks like. And once that pressure lifts, something important happens to your work. You stop asking it to save you. You stop forcing it to become profitable before it's ready. You allow it to grow naturally. That's when drawing becomes enjoyable again. That's when painting feels spacious, not because you've lowered your standards, but because you've removed unnecessary fear. Happiness for artists rarely comes from more recognition. It comes from enough time, enough space, enough understanding. When your life is simple, and your relationship to money is grounded, you're no longer running from something, you're choosing. And choice is where freedom actually lives. When your life is simple, your art breathes. When your expenses are reasonable, your decisions widen. You're not forced to monetize every drawing. You're not panicking about results. You can draw because you want to, not because you're cornered. This is where understanding money matters. Money isn't evil. Avoiding it is what traps people. When you study how money works, really understand it, it stops being emotional. It becomes a tool, a lever, something you can use to buy time instead of stress. Time is the real currency for artists. If you know how much you actually need to live and you design your life around that number instead of endless desire, something shifts. You stop chasing. You stop comparing.
You stop needing your art to rescue you, and when art isn't asked to save you, it becomes joyful again. Drawing feels lighter. Painting feels playful. Process returns. That's not an accident, that's alignment.
When drawing is approached correctly, it becomes more than a skill. It becomes a posture toward life. You start loose. You adjust slowly. You don't demand perfection early. You respond instead of forcing. You allow mistakes to guide you instead of judging them. That way of working doesn't stay on the page. It shows up in how you live. You stop overcommitting. You stop rushing decisions. You stop believing that more stuff will make things clearer. You realize that clarity comes from attention, not accumulation. Drawing teaches you how to sit with uncertainty without panicking. A light sketch doesn't need to explain itself. It just needs to exist long enough for the next mark to make sense. Life works the same way. You don't need a 10-year plan. You need to take the next honest step and stay awake while you do it. When your life is simple and your relationship to money is calm, you can choose when to push and when to rest. You can draw in the morning without wondering how it will perform. You can make work because it feels right, not because you're afraid. That's happiness for artists. Not excess, not recognition, not arrival, but ease. Enough. And the freedom to sit down with a pencil and let the line find its way. That's how drawing should feel. And that's how life can feel too. When you really understand drawing this way, it stops being a separate activity from the rest of your life. It becomes a mirror. You see how often you rush marks for the same reason you rush decisions. You notice how perfectionism on the page echoes perfectionism everywhere else. Drawing gently teaches you how to stop doing that. It invites you to stay with something without needing to resolve it immediately. A loose sketch doesn't panic about where it's going. It trusts that direction will emerge through attention. That's a powerful lesson to carry outside the studio. Life works the same way. You don't need to force clarity. You need to stay present long enough for clarity to form. When your life is simple, this becomes easier. Fewer possessions mean fewer distractions. Fewer financial obligations mean fewer urgent decisions. You're not constantly bracing for the future. You're allowed to be where you are. That's when drawing becomes relaxing instead of stressful. It's no longer something you squeeze in between responsibilities. It's something that supports you. Understanding money plays a quiet but important role here when you know what your baseline needs actually are. Fear loosens its grip. You stop asking art to pay rent emotionally before it ever pays rent financially. You give yourself room to practice without pressure. That's where joy returns. Drawing becomes a daily ritual instead of a performance. It becomes a way to check in with yourself. Some days the lines are confident. Some days they're hesitant. Both are fine. Both are information. This attitude slowly reshapes how you live. You become more patient with process. You stop measuring days solely by productivity. You notice how much of life happens in between outcomes. When you sit down to draw without expectation, you practice being content without accumulation. You experience enough. That's a rare skill in a world that constantly tells you to want more. And once you know what enough feels like, freedom stops being theoretical. It becomes practical. You realize you don't need to escape your life to be happy. You need to simplify it. Drawing teaches you that through repetition, through quiet attention, through letting go. When the pencil moves lightly, the mind follows. And over time, That lightness carries into everything else. You move through your days with less urgency. You choose carefully. You keep your life small enough to hold. And in that space, art becomes what it was always meant to be. Not a burden, not a rescue plan, but a companion. Something you return to because it feels right, not because it owes you anything.